Man, what the frick is up with you guys? Polly Hill and Poppy Hill coming to you live from the East. And today we got a good one for you today. So today we start a series on athletic nutrition and its history. And I thought a fantastic time. What you got, baby? Oh, what's got you so fussy, baby? She wants to say a little something to y'all too. Here, let me do this. She got baby. Yeah. Yeah, you tell him. Alright, here you go. So we start our series on athletic nutrition by studying nutrition of the modern battlefield soldiers, the MRE, or as my family calls them, the Mr. E. Stops you up and makes your intestines just wind up and twist. I know that doesn't sound very athletic, but who wants to take a shit in the middle of a firefight? Absolutely nobody. But when you do, it's gonna look like a deposit of red clay. Another question, if you're watching this 2025 and you've just witnessed the set death, talk about fat soldiers. And yes, that doesn't sound like the average battlefield technician is an athlete. I'm here to dispel a myth on that. Yes, a person in combat operations is more physically fit than your average military member, because it's more than just soldiers. Soldiers are Army, Airmen is Air Force, Space Force, a spaceman, I don't know. I'm not calling him a guardian. Give him one of these and that's about it. Sailors or Navy. And Marines are Marines. You know why a Marine wants to be called a Marine? Is because they have the zero creative energy to have a secondary name like every other branch. Just kidding. But we all know that Marine stands for men that are in Navy equipment. Sorry, I'm a bit partial, considering my military history. We'll go more than that in other episodes. But anywho, to also dispel the fat military member thing, most of the military are not infantry or combat people. Most military members are logistics and support, so things like computer nerds and people who handle boxes and paperwork and things like that. Although all military members deal with a lot of paperwork and deal with, frankly, too much. Also, I will say where a fat military member could come in handy. You know, you could say, "Hey chief, go stand over there on the boat," and you know, he'll stand in a certain location, cause the ship to tilt up in a certain area, so the missiles don't have to travel as far off the boat. Yeah, science. So let's talk about these. So the MRE was invented in 1975. So just in time for the Vietnam War to end. And we took the lessons we learned from the jungle and came out with these things. Now, the heater packs, which back here, and we'll spin that up soon after, was not invented until about 81. Didn't really come into effect until about 83. Some people, you might have used them in 81, that's fine. But early 80s, the heater pack came in to effect. The MRE is meant to be either hot or cold. It's meant to be eaten in the package that it comes in. Well, prior to that, what we used in the Vietnam War and in World War II, what we used called C rations. C rations required a mess kit. It required a flame-based heat source, and MREs up through the 90s came with a tablet that you would set on there. You would have a little stove that you put over, and you would light that tablet on fire, and it would have a blue flame. Because of the heater pack, I'll explain why the heater pack is important as I open this thing up for you guys. That way I'm just not sitting there teasing you for the next 20 minutes about an MRE. Let's go ahead and get this thing opened up. I'm gonna move you guys closer. I'm gonna set this up on the device. That way you guys can get a nice, clear image as I'm doing this unbagging. So the importance of the heater pack in the 80s was that was the advent on when night vision became more common in the military. Before that, in the Vietnam War, we was using starlight scopes, which was a scope only system with night vision. You will hear rumors of the red night vision, though that is largely to be an urban legend. If I say words funny, it's because my accent doubles as a speech impediment. And because of the advent of night vision, it was important to have a heat source that soldiers and Marines particularly needed something to heat their food up without the use of a flame, because a flame shows up like a giant road flare on night vision. Let's dig into this package, shall we? And we'll talk about my introduction as soon as we display these contents. So this particular one is a menu 2. Asshole. Don't worry, I'm an asshole too. My truck's loud as shit too. This is the menu 2 beef shredded. So it's in barbecue sauce. So it's essentially a sloppy Joe. Call it a sloppy Joe. I don't know why it's gotta be so complicated, like everything in the military. So this is our sloppy Joe. For shredded beef and barbecue sauce, you know, 100 fucking novel. Oh, I better be careful about now. That just landed right on top of them scissors. God damn, did I inspire this whole fucking neighborhood to have the loudest son of a bitch to drive? I know you guys can hear that too. There's no way you guys don't hear that. I'm deaf and I'm hearing this shit. Holy crap. Alright, let's see what we got here. Okay, so this is a apple straw car puree. This is a strawberry flavored apple sauce. Again, god damn, it's like reading a freaking Amazon description every time I read one of these. I've forgotten how complicated this is, which is odd because I have a whole box of them back there that I've been eating for the last month and a half. Alright, we have a cinnamon bun. I almost bet when I open this up it's gonna be a honey bun. Like a name brand honey bun. That happens every once in a while. Like particularly you'll get some MREs and there'll be a Pop-Tart. It will say like toaster pastry on the outside, you know, because the MREs have gotta have that Amazon description on the front. This right here is you put it in the heater packet and it helps keep from burning your fingers when you put it in a rock. We're not gonna use this. Aw, fuck. It just landed in the litter box. Jesus, guy. So this is really cool right here. It has a little bunch of knickknacks in here. Let's go ahead and open this up. This is fun. That's why I'm always ordering things. I just love opening things. Open this up. I'm not gonna throw it. I don't feel like picking up anything else out the litter box. So these are matches. MREs used to come with cigarettes, and it's a side that it does not. We used to be a proper country, and that's when we included beer and cigarettes and everything. It's a little bit of mint gum. Perfect for when you wanna, you know, you get in a wrestling match and you stick the gum in your mouth and then you get punched in the face and you spit the gum out and it goes flying out to the crowd like a tooth. This right here is like, it can be used as napkins or paper towels, or napkins or toilet paper is what I meant to say. That wasn't even the accent doubling a speech impediment. That was just a full retard moment. Toilet paper, and you use your trench shovel and dig a hole and you take a shit in it, and then you use this to wipe your asshole. Moist towel help wash the grime off your hands, and a thing of salt and 0 pepper. Some MREs come with a thing of Tabasco sauce. Let me go grab one of the little bottles of Tabasco sauce to show you. But anyway, what I was saying, I grabbed this little bottle of Tabasco sauce and I got right back on track what I was saying about toasted pastry. So the toasted pastry, it said, it got the little Amazon description, strawberry toasted pastry. And I opened it up and it's a legit strawberry Pop-Tart with like in the name brand wrapper inside the MRE style wrapper. So that's good to know. I went ahead and brought out a secondary knick-knack package from a separate MRE that I opened earlier this week. So I also want to show something else. And it's the same knick-knacks as the first one, except this time the gum is in a red wrapper. And to show the difference, when you get an MRE, and this is particularly useful if you live in the South, or you just now moving to the South, and you end up in a severe storm situation and the National Guard brings out MREs to get. White is mint gum, red is cinnamon gum. The cinnamon gum and the mint gum, they both last about the same. So you get like 3 seconds of gum and then it's rubber. It's not great gum. It's great while it lasts for the 3 seconds you got flavored. But outside of that, then it's time to spit. So on that subject, MREs being used for storms and stuff, particularly like in the state of Louisiana, state of Florida, where storms primarily affect the regions they come through. In order for you to see an MRE to begin with, primarily the civilian, is a really horrendous natural disaster. I'm talking Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Ida was the 2 big ones that I have had MREs as a civilian. I've never had an MRE while I was in the military. Never had one. And all the times I was a civilian when I've had them. When I have had them in the military, I bought them at the exchange. They would be like a little line, and like in Ida, for example, where I was a functioning adult when that happened. Hurricane Katrina, I was a child, so I didn't really participate in it as much. So like in the Walmart parking lot, Punchtool, Louisiana, you can Google Earth it if you want. We would have a line wrapped around, and there would be several cones guiding the lines as well as National Guardsmen. And they would announce over the radio a time and the place that the MREs would be handed out. And you would show up and you would wait in that line. And then when you approach your line, you would open your trunk, or if you had a pickup truck, and they would throw about a box or 2 of MREs in the back of your vehicle, and then you would skedaddle. Now, a box of MREs is about, I want to say it's about 10 meals. No, it's a little bit more, no. It's about 20 meals. So they'll give about 3 boxes of MREs, depending on how big your family is. So it's like a family of 3. So we got like a couple of boxes of MREs. during Hurricane Ida. My brother was living somewhere else at the time. I think when it was Katrina, I think we were getting four boxes of MREs at a time. But as electricity was down, those numbers dwindled. And particularly with Ida, less so than Katrina, because we didn't get, the damage wasn't as severe during Katrina as Ida, where I was living at. We had more flooding more than anything in the area I was living at. So we unfortunately got to experience in Ida humanitarian MREs. And humanitarian MREs come in this orange wrapper with like a little American flag like right there in black. And every MRE from a humanitarian was made with lentil beans. So it would be like some type of lentil soup, and it would be the blandest garbage tier MRE you could ever eat. But they was meant for people to barely survive on. It's the same, if you was to go back and look at the earthquake in Haiti and you saw orange MREs passing. Now, yes, those are the humanitarian style MREs that they were passing out. They are a less quality version than what the military gives out. You get the military maybe like for the first pass or two, and then they will switch over to the humanitarian ones. Now during Katrina, because I was living in Ponchatoula at the time, 40 miles north, I fortunately did not get to experience in the immediate vicinity the horrors that New Orleans got to face. Humor aside, there's a place called Charity Hospital, New Orleans. That's where my grandfather was born at, one of my grandfathers on my mother's side. And that place is shut down. The building still stands. But it's shut down. It's probably the most haunted building in America, in my professional and personal opinion. Because it was about a couple hundred people that drowned to death in that building up to the 4th floor. And doctors had to make the active choice to just start unplugging people that were bedridden and was on life support. And it's just a really, really horrible situation overall. Along with the lids were pushed off from the floodwaters. To backtrack a little bit, I'll explain to you why people are buried above ground, particularly in the swamp regions of Louisiana. Because the water table is not very deep in Louisiana. It's like 10-15 feet. It's not very deep at all. And so that swamp mud is constantly moving. And when you bury somebody in swamp mud, you bury a body, the mud starts shifting around. And so like if a coroner needs to come back and exhume that person, that body's gonna be in a completely different area than where they buried them originally. And it creates quite the headache. So they started burying them in primarily concrete crypts. If the family wanted to spend a little extra money, they use like marble and granite crypts. Particularly marble marble and concrete, the more standard in that area. Well, levee breaks, storm surge comes in, knocks the lids off these crypts. Who would have thought wood freaking floats with the body inside of it? Yes. And so now you got fucking caskets floating down the damn river. And I'm a kid. No, this is 2005. I'm born in 97. Me riding with my mom, checking out the damage in town. That's what you do every time there's a hurricane. You don't shelter the place. You go around it like, oh shit, look at there. Barry's roof done came off the damn place. What the hell? And yeah, you know, sit there, driving down the road, and fuck a bag. There's a goddamn casket floating up the damn ditch. I mean, it's almost spectacular, man. He's sitting there humming the theme from Jurassic Park as the fucking thing is like floating down the damn ditch. And yeah, spectacular. Yeah, a funny story from Katrina. Primarily, I spent most of my time with the month we was out of power. My friends and I were playing on our Game Boy Color. I had Pokemon Red, a buddy of mine had Pokemon Yellow, and another buddy of mine had Pokemon Blue. And we're talking the OG cartridge games. In fact, let me grab that while we're talking about the history of this athletic meal, the MRE. Let me go ahead and grab that for you. So, yeah, this is the Game Boy I played and made my time on in 2005 during Hurricane Katrina. And fun fact, I did take the batteries out because I play this very rarely nowadays. So we try to keep from battery rot ruining my Game Boy. This is Pokemon Blue. I also had this at the same time. Because what you would do is you would have a secondary Game Boy Color and you would have what's called a link cable. And you would plug that in right there. I don't have that with me, unfortunately, to demonstrate. Maybe we'll come up with another story later on and I will find my old link cable, plug it in, and trade Pokemon for you guys. Who knows? Oh, that's a good hockey history idea. We'll find a Blaze of Steel for the Game Boy in a future episode. I think that'd be really cool. But yeah, you would have a link cable and you would trade Pokemon. And that was the only way to have all three starter Pokemon. Was you'd have a secondary Game Boy and you'd have one game starting a fresh game, pick a starter, trade it to this game, and then you have all three starters. But we'll keep that in there. This Game Boy takes 2 AA batteries. And it still works. It still works. I'm not gonna start this up right now. I will save that for a future video. That's why I'm not wasting batteries just to be wasting batteries. Because this is stuff too expensive. The economy, I just don't want to be buying stuff to be buying. Yeah, but I'll show you. Drop the game. Yeah, like F1. Most games in this time period, outside of like a select, was like, this is Pokemon Red. That's what I primarily played in Katrina. Most games in this time period was arcade conversions. And what that means is they would come out with an arcade cabinet and then they would instantly convert it to a cartridge game. And instead of you putting in tokens to bring the life up, you just got freaked and had to start a new game over. Old games was hard as hell because they were meant to make the person spend more tokens to beat them. And they came in cheats and everything. Like the first Mortal Kombat, which is a hell of a lot more fun with your friends. Not fun to play by yourself because the freaking computer players, we used to call them, could move in between frames. Player could not. Make do what you will with that. Other times, particularly when we went to the color, and for the OG and the color, you can primarily tell the difference between the two outside of, reading Game Boy Color on the cartridge, and I highly doubt you'll ever be able to see that on camera because it's the same color as the cartridge. Is you'll have an indented for the OG Game Boy, and it would come out like this on the color. And why the color was like it was is it had a full color LCD, while the OG was just a black and white LCD. But back to this. Other Game Boy Colors were kind of cheap reproductions of their cartridge, full console. What's the word I'm looking for? Versions. Yeah, like this Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 is not the same Pro Skater 2 that you would play on the 64 or the PS1. It's a 2D version that is the Game Boy version is actually boring as hell, while the 64 PS1 version is one of the most legendary games ever made. Back onto our MRE unboxing. There's so much to open here. This one bag, as we're opening the contents, is supposed to last you for between 2 to 3 meals. And you would not want to eat this in one meal. You would be very tempted to because it's not a lot of food, but it's a wicked high calorie count. We're talking 2,300 calories in one pack. And it's one little bag that legit can fit into a very small section of your backpack. Especially when you do what's called dressing them, where you take what you want and you put it in there, and then you take what you don't want and you throw it in the trash. So this is tortillas, so you can use the tortillas, put your sloppy joe on the tortilla. We have oh yeah, jackpot baby. I love these. It's a protein powder. We're gonna have some fun with this. We're gonna do what's called I'm having another retard moment. We're gonna do what's called, what we used to call a Cat 5 milkshake. And that's where you take the protein powder and you take a mason jar and a little shaker spring. And you take the shaker spring, throw it in the mason jar. And you put water, we'll put a protein powder, and we'll mix a coffee creamer that comes in an MRE into the mason jar, and it turns it into this creamy milkshake like protein shake, and it's super amazing. Of course, we all know that protein powder is the center of every modern athlete, outside give or take creatine and some other various supplements. This is amazing. I love this. I'm so glad this came with this pack. And let's see what we got here. Oh, and yes, cheese spread with jalapenos. This is the greatest cheese you can get in MRE. If you open an MRE and you see cheese spread with jalapenos, it is a blessing from the Lord. And it makes my asshole moist. And as well, 2 utensils, the heater pack, and a spoon. And this cool thing about the spoon, let me tell you, these spoons that come in the MREs are super reusable. They make great camp spoons. So like post hurricane, you done got your ass blown away and whooped by the hurricane, and you still have this spoon that's thick, dude. Like look, yeah, that's better than, you don't throw away your spoon at the MRE. You take the spoon and you put that sumbitch in the dishwasher, because these things the dishwasher safe, and you put this shit in your camp bag, and you got the greatest camp spoon. And if you need a spork, you literally just take like an angle grinder and give yourself some spikes in this shit, and then you got a spork. Although it smells and it stinks and it smokes and it gives you respiratory diseases. Do cigarettes instead, kids. Before we get started making our food, our meal time, if you like this type of content, give me a like, subscribe, and hit the bell, baby. I love y'all. Let's get back to it. So I wanted to start out by getting yet another utility packet that has the coffee creamer. And you're probably wondering, Polly, where are you getting all these random MREs? Well, that's because I mentioned I bought an entire box full. This is exactly the type of box when you go for the storms and they give you this box as a family. I bought that entire box. Where do you get MREs? Well, you need to know a veteran or become a veteran or become active duty, and at your local exchanges You can buy a box of MREs. They're not cheap, but that's how you obtain real, genuine MREs. You do have the ones that are, I think they're called American ready to eat, I think. I don't know. But they are almost just like an MRE. But these are authentic because these are what I was served in the hurricane, and these are what is authentic to the battlefield. And it would do y'all a disservice if I bought fake MREs to talk about real MREs. So, enough rambling. Let me get this open for you guys. Alright. This is a different utility packet. Check this out. It comes with 2 gums. Both of them mint, unfortunately. I'm more partial to cinnamon. It comes with a 0-calorie sweetener for you Diet Coke people. Comes with a freeze-dried coffee. This goes direct mix. We will mess with this in a little bit. This is gonna be a pretty long video. It's probably gonna be a 30-40 minute video of me indulging in this particular MRE over the next few days. It comes with an authentic sugar for my Coca-Cola people. Comment if you like Coke. Doesn't matter which kind. And this is our creamer. This is what we are actually eyeballing. And of course, moist towel, salt, TP napkins. Let me show you why this acts as either or. I've mentioned this could be a napkin or toilet paper. That slips off. This can be used as a no, I'm fucking with you. This. And yeah, so you can tell. But see how stout it is. I'm gonna get it down to apply. It's see. It peels off in sheets, and it is about like single-ply toilet paper when you do peel it off in sheets. But you can kind of leave it as a bundle, and it does act as a paper towel. We have here a cup of water. We're gonna make you one of my old childhood favorites, the Cat 5 shape. We have a cup of water with a spring. Give myself a backlight. I'm gonna open this up here. Let me get a little sip of this. This is water, because hydration is important. Hydration is the #1 thing you need to be an athlete. If you don't drink water, you're not gonna perform. This show has been sponsored by the water boy himself, Polly Hill. That was my nickname in boot camp, the water boy. I'm from Louisiana, I got an accent, and I like water. And it connects. And yeah, my job is to make sure people hydrate. So we have our creamer, we'll kind of have it split open. Very, very awesome. Very, very awesome. Do a lot now. Sorry, I have to resist the goblin voices. That was my other nickname, the Cajun Goblin. Because in the gas chamber in boot camp, I inhaled as much of the CS gas as I possibly could. And the only thing I felt was a little bit of crawfish smell. But it cleared out my sinus. My nose ran the entire boot camp up until the gas chamber. And I used the CS gas to clear out my sinuses. And in fact, it gave me superpowers. It was super awesome. I love CS gas. Honestly, I probably would thrive in a riot. I shit you not. I am completely immune to it, and in fact, if anything, it gives me an athletic boost. I should totally just flashbang the shit out of myself and set out a CS grenade every time I go to play a game in the crease, and I will probably be the greatest goalie ever, next to Coco, who every game he would do a line. And he won like 4 Stanley Cups that way. You know, when he played for the Blues, he wasn't doing good. You wanna know why? Because he didn't do crack. Do crack, you'll be a great goalie. And that's what history tells us. And you know, the modern industry wants to. Hold on, I'm getting sidetracked. No, I'm not. the modern industry wants to give you recency bias and tell, oh, we're bigger, we're faster, and everything. Have you seen some of the freaks that came out of the 80s? Did you not see people? Look at people in the Olympics in the 80s, okay? Look at even the damn WWF had some of the biggest, most athletic freaks, and they don't even actually fight. They just fight for TV purposes, and it's a soap opera where they beat the hell out of each other, and they had the biggest freaks in the entire universe. Alright? Then we get recency bias. 80s athletes were by far the biggest freaks of nature we ever had in life, and because they wasn't even natural, they was getting a needle in their ass, and it was fantastic, and it made for the greatest TV ever. Alright, back to your regular scheduled programming. So we have here a suspicious looking liquid. Actually looks more like milk. I was thinking of a different kind of milk. You know, considering a couple episodes, you know, I did spray myself with. Anyway. Smoker's cough. Protein powder. Crack it open. Different kind of crack. Typically, you would mix this in the bag. Fuck the bag. When you mix this in the bag, it's always clumpy. I don't know what it is. It's always clumpy when you mix in the bag. That's why we have the spring in a jar. Freaking legend to the guy in the jar. No. No. That was a horrible joke, and I don't know why I found that funny. I shouldn't have found that funny. Subscribe for more. More terrible. Is that dark humor or dank humor or meme humor? I don't know. I don't know. That thing about a decade of YouTube brain rot. Two decades of YouTube brain rot. Smoker coughing a little. 2 decades of YouTube brain rot. Yeah, 2004. Wow. It all started with a guy and a stick. So we got our protein powder in the jar with our coffee creamer, and we're gonna give it a little In case you're wondering, that's kind of how I entertain myself off camera too. Since my wife is serving the country, nation is clean. I miss my wife, and now I do gay shit. Hey, y'all remember the shake weight? I thought. Who would have thought? So that's done. We got our MRE protein. What the fuck did I do? Oh, jar matches. I need to clean up around here. Oh shit! I didn't make that all together. Oh, I gotta give it a little more shake. I just choked on a little bit of some unmixed powder. I got a little bit of a rush there. I'm getting too stupid with the shaking process. Let's shake it like a proper individual. You're supposed to shake it like an infant. No. Where'd that come from? Holy shit. Drop a little bit. Amazing. Alright, let's see if I can stick this in my mouth without gagging on it. Take 2. That's amazing. When you mix it with the coffee cream, crap you not, it tastes like chocolate ice cream. So yes, if you find yourself an MRE chocolate protein shake, mix it with a little bit of powdered coffee cream and like crap you not, like you use the MRE coffee cream with it, crap you not, tastes like chocolate ice cream. On to the next thing. Test number 2, we're going to sample our MRE toilet paper after drinking our Cat 5 milkshake. I'm going to take a little bit and we're just going to sample the fact on how well it wiped the shit off my mouth after drinking that. Fantastic. I just need to give it a little moist to get the stickiness off my face. Okay, after doing my best Vince McMahon impression by wiping the shit off my face, I'm going to finish this video up by reviewing the applesauce that came with this particular MRE. This particular video, because of all the history I have personally with MREs, as well as the outside history of the MRE, as well as tasting MRE, showcasing it to you guys, because I want y'all to experience this rather than me showing a whole bunch of Google images and you guys be okay, well that's what it looks like. I want y'all to experience it. This is a channel where you can experience this. So we're gonna finish this up and make this multiple parts. If I try to do this entire segment I want to do with the MRE in one video, it's gonna be the length of a Lord of the Rings movie, and I just not gonna subjugate you guys to that. So undo this. I'm gonna put a little bit out on a little bit of this packet right here because I want you guys to see it. Okay. Yeah. Just like applesauce. That's what it looks like. Applesauce. It tastes just like strawberry flavored applesauce. MREs make me so nostalgic, and it shouldn't, because maybe it does make. I'll tell you why an MRE makes me nostalgic real quick, and that's I gotta get one more bite. Because living through a hurricane and the objectives you have to live through a hurricane, it's like playing Fallout in real life, minus the enormous, take that back, yeah, including the enormous bugs that it is Louisiana. And you got mosquitoes legit the size of my finger. So yeah, including the enormous bugs. It's like playing Fallout in real life. When you're out there just trying to survive by the skin of your teeth, you're not really worried about finances because you're not spending money on anything. You're trying to scavenge. You're trying to make do with your own resources you have. And in a way it's sufferable, but also in a way it's kind of fun. Outside of the fact that if it's only fun if you still have your property. I will put that far. If you lose your fucking shit, it's not a good time. But if you still have your property, it's kind of fun. I had to go back and correct myself. Like, subscribe. I love you guys. Stay safe during this crazy time. And I'll see you guys for part 2.